Thank you guys so much for watching this series. I really appreciate it. This was really a lot of fun. Something that I was really worried about when entering the PlayStation. Well, first of all, I should preface it with this, right? Was mildly interested in getting a PlayStation 5. I never, at the time, I didn't know it was even possible. And now I've had the thing for about a year now, and I haven't even touched a single PlayStation exclusive. So I think it's high time that I do now. So we're gonna start with Ratchet and Clank, just go a little simple, ease our way into it, and then we might start getting into the longer form RPGs. So I'm pretty excited for that. I really want to check out Rebirth and Reload. So those are very exciting. The other thing I want to talk about, so I was a little worried entering into this because the only like the mainstream PlayStation exclusive now, it's not, back then it was Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter and all these like mascot characters just like Nintendo had. It's nowadays it's not really the same. When you think of PlayStation and their exclusives, you realistically think about hold on one second. Okay. Realistically, you end up thinking about The Last of Us and what other games? Like, again, a lot of big name RPGs and things like that, and Spider-Man. That was the other one, Spider-Man. And these are these big, crazy adventures that are more like movies than anything else. And although I thoroughly enjoy Spider-Man and what that game has to offer, a lot of what PlayStation is producing nowadays isn't really games anymore. And I'm glad that they were able to marry the two with this. And this was a perfect example of how well a game could be when, now of course the story isn't anything to laugh about, it's not anything crazy, but they basically turned a movie into a video game, basing it off of a video game, which is a little weird, but they basically took elements from an animated movie and put it into a game. And you're able to do both. You're able to have an incredible story, incredibly well done animations, basically like a movie. You could have like a Ghibli movie or a Pixar movie crammed into a game. You can do that, right? And you can actually have a game around that. And a lot of, from what I've seen of The Last of Us, is very just kind of walking around and shooting a couple of zombies, and then maybe there's a couple of like puzzles here or there. But Ratchet and Clank thoroughly embraces the game element of the conversation here, and it's a nice marriage of story and animation, basically a movie, and marrying it with the games. Now, in terms of the actual gameplay, again, alright, actually, I should just say, since we're on the topic, the story, right? The story is, again, not really anything crazy. I would say it's probably a little bit less than, say, something like, like Scarlet and Violet, which we played recently. But this is the first Ratchet and Clank game in the series. They've loosely based it off of the original. And I kind of like how they actually changed some story elements a little bit to more in line with the movie, as well as Rift Apart, which is coming soon, right? Like, what was it, like 4 years later that we got Rift Apart? And yeah, like, if you're wondering, like, what my experience is with Ratchet and Clank, I played one game, and I couldn't tell you what it was. I know it was on the PlayStation 3, and I got thoroughly lost. I was very young. I didn't know what I was doing. But I enjoyed the concept of it, and I wanted to play it later on, and so this was, like, the perfect entry point for me to do so. And then next, I can play Rift Apart, and whether or not I want to, I can go back and play the older games, because you have the trilogy on PS3, which I think could be playable on PS5, and then the future trilogy as well. So I can very easily either just stop with Rift Apart or, go back and play the older games. I think this is a perfect entry point to do so for those who aren't familiar with Ratchet and Clank, because this is basically the first game, but it's also a remake and it's accessible. Now, in terms of the actual gameplay here, I thought it was fairly interesting. I like that it was a mix of a lot of different genres. You had the shooting, you had action, adventure, platforming, and puzzles all kind of jammed into one. and it didn't really feel like it was like too much, I guess. Like the combat between the melee and the shooting flowed really nicely, and then the puzzles never really felt jarring, I guess. But it just seemed like the majority of the puzzles were like just like the turning thing, the laser puzzles, which I didn't enjoy at all. But I really liked the Clank puzzles. I wish there was a lot more of those, and to be expanded upon a little bit. And obviously, I like the platforming, right? I love swinging around on the thing, and I wish you could do a lot more of that. In terms of like the side content and stuff, I wasn't a huge fan of the hoverboard races. I think those are the ones that clash the most with everything else that's on display here. And then, of course, the other side stuff would be the collection stuff. And man, you know, my plan wasn't to 100% it, but I basically did. I got all the molts and the rhino cards and stuff, and unfortunately I didn't do a lot of the more grindy stuff that you would do with this game, like the cards and other things. But it was a lot of fun just trying to figure out where the bolts are, and I kind of did a good job just doing it on my own. I barely had to use a guide. I only had to use a guide for extra ones that I missed, so, you know, not too bad, not too shabby. But yeah, all in all, this was a great, fantastic game. I enjoyed my experience. This was a great introduction to the series, and I'm very, very excited after a lot of the amazing things that I've heard about Rift Apart. I'm super excited to hop into it pretty soon here. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video or the series. Of course, if you're watching this over on the Crazy Cap Studios channel, the link to the series as well as upon where this video comes from will be in the link in the description, just like my previous reviews. And also, what else was it? Oh yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, like I said, all in all, this was a great game, and I'm looking forward to more. Yeah, so I will be seeing you guys next time. Bye.